This is the best EV I have ever driven. This is the BMW i5 M60 and this is one of the craziest 5 Series BMW has ever made. This thing is powered by an 84 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery. It has 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, one on the rear axle, and it makes 600 horsepower and 820 Newton meters of torque. More or less, this is an electric M5.
Now, before BMW fanboys run behind me with pitchforks, yes, I am fully aware that this is not a real M product by any means, especially because it's an EV. But the engineering that BMW have done to make this new G68 platform is genuinely incredible. The rear wheel steer, low center of gravity in this i5, all-wheel drive and other components help this M60 drive and feel like something that doesn't weigh almost 2400 kilograms.
The G68 5 Series has been a controversial one. When it came out, people didn't like the way it looked. But as time has passed, I personally have started to think that this is a really nice looking car. First and foremost, I love the fact that BMW has taken inspiration from some of its older models, especially with this headlight. It looks like it's come from an E65 series and I love the way it looks. It gets the new snake eye kind of DRL up in front and it looks insanely menacing, especially at night. On the front end, you have a massive kidney grille and now it's illuminated, which gives it even more road presence. I have personally seen the G90 M5 and I just feel the M5 just looks too wide and too broad, and the intakes are massive, but I don't think it looks as good as the i5 M60. The i5 M60 just looks much more sleeker and just a bit more sexier in my opinion. Come down to the side, since this is the M60, you get M-specific wheels and massive brakes behind that. You also get these M mirror caps with this little aggressive kind of canard kind of thing over here. No carbon fiber roof because this is not a proper M. You get a massive panoramic sunroof instead. And with the newer style of BMWs, they want to keep the design as flush as possible. So the door handles are a little bit different now. Takes some time to get used to it, but looks really nice if you ask me. Come down to the rear door. I love the fact that BMW has still kept the Hofmeister kink. A lot of the newer BMWs don't really get that, but they've maintained that design trait on the new G68. And the back end is where I think so the difference is seen the most. This does not resemble the 5 Series in any sort of way if you ask me. The taillight has just become way too slim and the boxy design of the taillight has genuinely just gone for a toss. But does it look good? I would say yes, it does still look good, but it doesn't look like a traditional 5 Series. Now, again being the M60, you get these M60 badges at the rear, a little boot lip spoiler, and you get this diffuser kind of action going on. Overall, I think it's a very handsome looking car, and in terms of the design at least, the proportions are spot on. i5 M60 to drive is, well, it has multiple personalities. Let's get one thing out of the way. this is not gonna replicate your M5 driving experience. It does not have a big fat V8 up front, nor does it have any of the nice sounds. But if you do put it into sports mode or into expressive mode, the Hans Zimmer orchestra sounds, or all of that stuff that Hans Zimmer has made for BMW comes into life. And honestly, in an EV, I don't mind it because it doesn't really have any sort of auditory experience if you remove all of that stuff. And honestly, sounds pretty spaceship-like. And look at the interior. It definitely feels like a spaceship as well. You have this massive LED light bar kind of thing inside, and it changes colors depending on the mode you're on or the type of ambient lighting setting that you've chosen. And honestly, I think it looks absolutely crazy on the inside. Proper spaceship vibes. This gets the M adaptive suspension, so if you flick through the modes, if you put it in sports, the suspension firms up, everything sharpens up, the throttle response becomes lightning quick. And I mean lightning quick is an understatement. I mean it's literally like instant, like the throttle response, yeah, like it's wild how sharp the throttle response becomes. The suspension, like I said, firms up or softens up depending on which mode you're on. And honestly speaking, for like an M Lite product, this thing rides so well. I've done a Pune, Mumbai and back to Pune trip with this car, and it is one of the most comfortable drives I have done on that expressway in a very, very long time. This thing has just multiple personalities. Like I said, if you put it into efficient mode, it actually becomes pretty efficient. You also have a maximum range mode, and that basically completely shuts off your AC and all of the other stuff that you don't really need or will actually help you get more range. And yeah, it makes a massive difference. Yes, you will be sweating, but I think so a 70 to 80 kilometer increase in range just by activating that mode, that's a big difference. And it does make a big difference while you're doing road trips or long journeys, because it definitely helped me in the Pune to Mumbai and back to Pune trip that I did. I left with 39% charge and I reached Bombay with like 10% charge. And why is it one of the best EVs I've driven? Well, it's because it still has the essence of BMW in it. It drives like a BMW. The car has two motors, but the thing is, you still feel that rear wheel drive bias when you're driving it. But when you want it to hook up and go, this thing launches like an absolute missile. .81 seconds is the fastest 0 to 100 kph time that I've been able to get out of this car, and it's been Draghi verified. And yeah, even after 100 kph, this thing just keeps on pulling like a freight train. And honestly speaking, it does feel like 600 horsepower. A lot of these EVs, start cutting power once you don't have enough battery, or after 100 kilometers an hour, you can genuinely feel like the power drop, but not in this car. It feels like a proper BMW, and that's the most important thing for me. Yes, you might not have the ICE and the auditory experience of like a V8 or even an inline 6, but the iconic sounds that BMW have coded in really do make a difference in the experience of driving this car. And honestly speaking, just pop it into sports. I've been driving it in efficient, and this thing is like just next level. Oh my god. One major complaint that I do have is the brakes. Now, that's the thing with most EVs, since they have regenerative braking, the brake pedal genuinely has no feel. I mean, I just don't know what the brakes are doing. But the one pedal driving experience in this car is really nice. Trust me, this car is as efficient, as fast as it is. And yeah, since this is a skateboard kind of battery pack, which is basically inside the floor of the car, the center of gravity is super duper low. Moreover, the front axle and the rear axle both have 50-50 weight distribution, which makes it handle so flat through the corners. And this thing weighs, I think so, 2.4 tons. That's more than most SUVs, and it's only 100 kilos less than the M5. That actually says more about the M5 than the i5 M60, because you expect this thing to be heavy. But anyways, the handling is genuinely not compromised. And this is a massive car, and in order for ease of maneuverability, you do get rear wheel steer, and trust me, it makes a big difference in the turning radius of this car, because in the city I've not faced that many problems in making this car turn. And trust me, this is longer than a couple of generations ago of 7 Series. The interior of the G68 5 Series is absolutely amazing. We recently got the W214 E450, and I think so that interior emphasized a bit too much on the rear seat. But that's given because an E-Class is supposed to be a chauffeur-driven car, but not the 5 Series. The 5 Series is supposed to be a big, luxurious sedan where you can drive it properly. And I have to say, this cabin, especially up in front, is really, really nice. You have these amazing carbon fiber inserts because it's the M60 model, and this massive light bar which goes all across the front, which gives it a really special feeling. Right now I'm in sports mode, so it's displaying the M colors with the light bar inside, and this looks really special. Moreover, the build quality of BMW is spot on. Not a single creak, not a single rattle while I did my 500 or so kilometer journey over the last couple of days. The steering wheel is also the latest M Sport steering wheel with a flat bottom, 3 spokes, but the weirdest thing about this steering is that it only gets one little paddle shifter, and that is for your sport response button. So if you hold this paddle shifter down, it will give you 10 seconds of full power. The center console also is classic BMW. Yes, you don't get the big old shifter that you used to get. Now you get this little switch kind of a thing, but that's also with this crystal finish. And you also get this scroller wheel, which makes using the infotainment system super duper easy. The infotainment system is the iDrive 8 system. Again, the graphics, the usability, and just the icons and everything are just laid out so well that it's super duper easy to use. But one major complaint, and I mean that goes with almost all modern cars, is that they've put all of the aircon settings inside the infotainment system, which is insanely annoying to use. More annoying stuff is that the vents are now basically hidden inside the car. So the adjuster is over here. But the annoying thing is that if you want to shut off or give the basically adjust the airflow of the vent, you have these buttons on the light bar itself. And the worst part is they don't even have haptic feedback, so you really don't know what's going on. And that goes for a lot of controls in the car. Stuff like your unlock lock buttons, headlight controls, your seat controls, your hazard button. A lot of the controls inside don't have haptic feedback, which makes you take your eyes off of the road while driving, which is again pretty annoying. But apart from that, the interior is minimalistic and it's just super duper clean. The steering wheel has a bunch of controls. The right hand side is for your media, the left hand side is for all of your cruise control settings. It does get a couple of ADAS features like lane keep assist, and it has adaptive regen braking, which scans the road in front. If you have a car in front, it will slow down automatically. A lot of that insane stuff. A wireless charging pad, even the cup holders have ambient lighting. You have these amazing seats which have big fat bolsters which keep you in place when you're cornering hard, and a massive panoramic sunroof. So let's hop into the rear seat and see if the 5 Series can still compete with the E-Class or not. Now, the i5 M60 does not come in long wheelbase format in India, unlike the normal ICE powered 5 Series. If you buy a 530 Li in India, well, it's in the name, Li, long wheelbase, but not for the i5 M60. This is the normal short wheelbase car, and well, the leg room is pretty ample if you ask me. Moreover, this is more of a driver's car, so I think you should be sitting in the front, but still the rear seat is very comfortable. Yes, the floor of the car is a little bit higher because of the battery pack which is stuffed underneath the footwell, but the back seat is pretty comfortable. Yes, under thigh support is a little bit off, but I mean, it's comfortable. You have loads of space, but there's not many things to do in the back, unlike the E450 long wheelbase that we got. But again, they're not direct competitors, but you do have 4-zone climate control, if I'm not wrong. You have Bowers and Wilkins speakers now, which illuminate on the inside, which looks really cool. BMW has changed their speaker partner, I guess. Previously it was Harman and Kardon, now it's Bowers and Wilkins. And yeah, a very comfortable back seat with a massive panoramic sunroof, but it doesn't have any of the shades or any of that stuff going on. You do have an adapter for putting a screen over here at the back, but overall it's just a pretty normal, solid back seat experience. Nothing much to talk about, but does the job. In all honesty, it doesn't drive like a 2.4 ton car at all. In fact, I would say it shrinks around you and it feels more like a 3 Series when you're actually pushing it around the corners and everything. It has rear wheel steer, the low center of gravity because the battery pack is below your feet, and I mean the 50-50 weight distribution that BMW has engineered. Yeah, it all comes together in a very nice way. Yes, it's not going to give you the same thrills as probably what a V8 M5 with its twin turbo S68 engine would give you, but I mean, it's a different yet very engaging and very fun driving experience altogether. Would I buy an i5 M60? Well, if EVs were the only thing that were around, well, yes, definitely I would. But since you do get the option to buy an M5, of course I would opt for that. But this is one of the best EVs I've ever driven. I think the only thing that could actually compete with it would probably be like a Taycan Turbo S or something of that sort. But I think so that's 1.5 to probably 2 crore rupees more expensive than this thing over here. And well, yes, this is more or less like an electric M5 with 600 horsepower and 820 Newton meters of torque. Overall, this has been a really eye-opening experience and goes to show that even if you go with an electric future, it can be a little bit fun. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one.